What is going on, everybody? 2Bob29 back in the lounge yet again. And this time we have a lot of prize walls. So I apologize that there's not too much time on this We're Thankful prize wall. That was for the Thursday event. I don't know how many of you out there even have a singular medallion on this. This was very talent up heavy for the faction. And very leaderboard centric, so I don't really think this is going to be very helpful for a lot of people. So I'm kind of just sliding this little mini Prize Wall Eval in before the rest of these. So very straightforward in this. It's these 9 characters, 6-star silver. I'm not even going to go over this top section here. That's only for the first place faction. If the first place faction ended up getting first place and doesn't know who to get, they're most likely not watching this video. They're probably asking around in their faction for some pointers, so not really going to be of a great assistance here. For the rest of the top 5, I think is what it was, you may have gotten 1 medallion from that, as well as maxing out the event at 700 million, something like that, talent up. So you're kind of in this section of 2 tokens or 2 1 tokens. The Black Friday event loot also has a lot of these characters in it, so it all really depends what you're looking for. To me, the number one get out of this, if you don't have them, is Logan Paul. He helps every submission character in the game. And Pat Patterson's actually fairly rare, as well as being a good trainer for 2 blue MP and 100% blue move damage. Outside of that, honestly, I would probably just use this as fuse ups for the majority of you out there. So for me personally, I have Farouk at 6-star bronze with a couple hollow stars, but he already has a 6-star fuse up. I have Shayna at 6-star bronze. And I have Thrasher at like 5 bronze, but he also has a 6-star bronze fuse up. So what I think I'm going to do, because I also looked at all this, I already have a 6 silver fuse up for Logan and a 6 silver fuse up for Bianca. And Pat is 6-star bronze with his own 6-star fuse up to get all 6 stars full. So it's really not a big win for me here, but I'm going to take the Shayna fuse up for 6-star silver, I think, is what I'm going to do, so that I just have a 6-star fuse up for a faction event kind of in the bank. And then this Thrasher one, what I'm probably going to do is fuse him up to 6-star bronze now, so that when another 6-star fuse up event comes around, faction event, that I'll have a 6-star fuse up for him from 6 bronze to 6 silver instead of 5 bronze to 6 silver, and having my current 6-star bronze poster just eaten up and thrown into the wind. So I mean it's pretty straightforward. This is a very simple wall. These are really the only decent characters here. Bam Bam is great, but you're getting shards of him all month. Rocker Sean, his day is behind us, to be very honest. He's good still, but nothing that I think that you're going to be losing sleep over not having him at all. And then it comes down to this group here, where, again, Logan Paul and Pat Patterson, probably your best entourage out of the bunch. Bianca suffers from needing to use a stun move and jug gems, and she's just not as great as some of the acro females that we already have in the game. And all these characters are very just mid or even below mid tier, to be honest. So not really worth going into great detail there. Next up, we have the puppet prize walls. There's, for the Black Friday event, Huskus the Pig Boy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard, and Abby the Witch, as well as the Black Friday Funhouse main prizes. So let's go over the Huskus one real quick. Very, very quickly, you'll notice that each of these has a skill plate, 2 gears, and 3 posters per. So skill plate, 2 gears, 3 posters. Skill plate, 2 gears, 3 posters. And I believe that Abby's the same. Skill plate, 2 gears, 3 posters. So it's kind of up to you as to what it is that you feel that you're missing, honestly. So this RK Overload plate, really not that great. Kind of only helps Trickster Bubba out if you're using him with a Sheriff's Badge. And there's been a little bit of play testing recently with the LA Bite plate that shows that he's got a lot more viability as triple yellow against everybody and not just technicians. So kind of a toss-up there. So yeah, the RK Overload, not really the greatest. NXT gear for Baron Corbin is so weak at this point. Corbin doesn't really need anything, but he's also super free and doesn't really stretch up into the 6-star gold land. So, Tech Becky gear, the man gear, if you're still using Tech Becky to today, she's good-ish with, like, every single thing under the sun and some RNG. It's pretty rough, to put it kindly. So for the Huskus Wall, I would tell you, look into getting the characters. Super Stacy, definitely very commonly used as a CSS requirement. D'Lo Brown looks pretty solid if you manage to get Uncle Howdy from this event. And Karrion Kross, also a boss battle character, CSS consistently. So not a horrible shout if you need Karrion Kross for a CSS. To be honest, the Huskus Wall, really not that great. Next up, Ramblin' Rabbit Wall. The plate here is the Glowing Fate plate. This is the one where when you sub, you get 200% green gem damage afterwards. The 2 gears, which is the Maurice gear. I hate that they don't have the little explanation here anymore. I believe Maurice is blue gem damage, and I think Andrade is like purple gem damage. Again, you'll notice these gears are for free characters. They really aren't that great. And if you're going to get one of these medallions, puppets, whatever you want to call them, you're probably not going to want to get these 2 freebie gears if you have a choice of getting any of these 3 up here. Scott Steiner is amazing. He's got a triple purple moveset that you can't lose with unless someone has an anti-stun strap, which not too many people use. Don't get me wrong, he's not the fastest, but he's certainly very good. Oozing Machismo, Razor Ramon, very strong even still to today. Consistently uses multiply gems, very, very strong multiply gems. And there's a twofer with him. He also has a gear that attaches to him, and he also has a moment that attaches to him. Both of them make him very, very strong. And Powerhouse Hogan, the OG Hulk Hogan in the game, still very strong to today. He needs everything, though. There are 3 moments out there that he needs. He needs the gear, he needs a strong gem damage strap, needs some skill plates, needs a lot of stuff, but he could still clap 100 plus, 120 plus million pretty smoothly, as well as having a very solid coach for not only 2+ color gem across the board, but 100% a mobile gem. So personal preference in regards to this one, I would tell you to skip the bottom row and tell you to go for the top row here. Would definitely be my suggestion in that regard. Next, we have the Mercy the Buzzard Prize Wall. The Unbreakable Crown, pretty decently, I don't want to say decently common or decently rare, but it's been available consistently, but the things that are typically piled in with it are much better than what it is, as you can see here. So you'll notice that the Razor gear is here, the DX Army Triple H gear is here, which is just weak. That guy he's so old. His move damage has not scaled. We're getting people that do millions, 1 million, 2 million, even 3 million move damage nowadays. This guy's move damage is about 300,000. Like, getting these gears for him, they are, I hate to, consistently badger the devs or anything like that. They really missed the mark with this gear specifically. The Red Razor gear, again, gives him that extra oomph on his multi-gems. Definitely a huge help if that's going to be your go-to guy for Technician or New Gen or whatever it is. Mello, fantastic trainer, the black and purple trainer. If you don't have any of the things on here, I would definitely suggest getting Mello first and foremost. That double 4 MP trainer is just so significant. Speaking of what we were talking about before with the RK Overload plate, here is Trick Bubba available at 6-star bronze. If that's your gameplay and you like to run, a little bit risky in your gameplay, then this is definitely your go-to guy here. There's always a chance of cascading, but his upside is pretty significant nowadays. And, I mean, if you know me, I'm a fan of the Macho King for sure. But man, his day is so long gone. Like, so long gone. And I hate to say it because he used to be the best at what he did. But nowadays, and I know a lot of people are going to say, it's bias, you love him for other reasons. I really think Batista Bomb is much better than Macho King at what he does. Macho King has a yellow move that chooses black gems. Batista has a black move that chooses black gems. They both have Juggernaut gems that effectively do the same thing, that generate power gems and make them stronger. But Batista's base values are almost like, I think it's close to 10x of what Macho King's are. If it's not, then maybe it's about 5x. But it's such a higher multiplicative, it's not even worth looking at Macho. So if you don't have them, definitely worth getting just to say that you can get them. But again, from this wall, the number one thing I would tell you to look at is Mellow if you don't have them. If you manage to have this guy or all three of these guys, then definitely look into getting the red Razor gear as well. And very similarly to the having of 3 medallions up here, you probably don't need my video to tell you what to get from here. This is completely up to you in regards to, having spent as much as you did, because there's no chance of getting this for free. And no one's calling you out for spending. What you did is you saw I have everything but this puppet. So obviously I spent my fair share too. And I know what I spent, so I can only imagine what you spent. But if you don't have these things, I mean, you should know what you're missing. If you don't have OTC, take OTC. If you have OTC and you don't have Muda for whatever reason, take Muda. If you don't have these characters, and you're super close on shards where you're like within 50 for whatever reason, then the pink gear for Maxine makes her arguably the best showboat, especially in my opinion, because she doesn't use any multiply gems. But again, you should already know that. The timeless style is the Tiffy hat. To me, crazy that they have that plate up here. They are tremendously overvaluing it, in my opinion, especially when it was just available on that other wall that we just had for the one that everyone was burning hundreds of thousands of Blitz tickets for. That plate is not worth OTC, right? Like, if you have to pick between OTC and that plate, that's crazy talk. Like, that plate sits in the trash and it doesn't make its way out for a long time. And true form in Vizcina, that's honestly there for people who have the rest of this, which, if I did get this, because, and I feel a bit silly for having gotten OTC out of the club store, seeing how much more readily available they are making him. Again, I'm not saying he's cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but when he first came out, it was, $500+ a week, and that was just not doable. And then he just disappeared for the next 2 months, and now all of a sudden it's like, by the way, OTC, 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 OTC. It's like, yeah, okay. I kind of feel stupid because if I knew that he'd be on a wall like this, maybe I would have had incentive to, try to max this event or do something along those lines. So, I guess I'm happy for it. My wallet's definitely hurting already as is from this event, but my wallet is appreciative that their foresight is very weak when it comes to trying to capitalize on making money off of us. So, is what it is. Definitely saved me a lot of money. The true form Vizcina gear is not worth spending the amount that it's going to cost. But if you get to this point, you probably don't need me telling you what to get. You already know what you want to get. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent this much money to get here. Last but not least, the main prize wall. Main prize wall has a lot of goodies on it. Like, a lot of goodies. And this is a big reason why a lot of people are hitting this Black Friday event so heavily. At least that's what I think. You'll notice I have just around 250K. I certainly spent my fair share. I can only imagine where everybody else is, and you can pretty much use that to kind of gauge about how much I spent. So yeah, we've all spent a good chunk on this game. Bo Dallas in the wall for 330K. For me, I've already recruited Bo from shards from how much I spent, so this to me is just bait. It's not even worth it. I don't see personally any realm where you would get to 330K without recruiting Bo. So this feels very silly to me, but it's a good option in there just in case someone does get lucky from, something and they have a way of getting Bo, but they were too many shards short. These straps, yeah, that's probably what the entire wall revolves around. And if you can't read it, we'll highlight it for you. 150% gem damage straps. The issue is these include the PG era. These include the reality era. These include the ruthless aggression era. Instead of it just being these 4 eras here. And so don't get me wrong, there's definitely a couple of ruthless aggression characters out there. There's definitely maybe, 1 or 2 reality era characters out there. But it's really bad when you get those compared to these. And then you also have to roll class on top of it. So 150% gem damage and the 100% gem defense straps are also back. Both of these are 40K apiece. Do I think one is inherently better than the other? No. I think it's all based on your personal preference and your gameplay and your play style. Do I think 150% gem damage is that much of an upgrade when you're talking about already having 100% gem damage? No. If you don't have a gem damage for someone, then yes, obviously it's a massive upgrade. If you're moving up from a 50 to 150, yes, it's a massive upgrade because it's the same equivalent of not having a damage strap and moving up to 100. So it's kind of up in the air in regards to what it is that you need and what it is that you want. And then having these 100% armor straps, I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. I really and truly do. I think that it's very silly how much people are kind of just foregoing them. Is that a good way of saying it? I really hope so. So these are great. When you start comprehending how strong armor can truly be, you'll realize how amazing that these straps are. The one thing I don't like is that the game came out with these straps instead of armor 2s, because armor 2s would be medals that you could effectively put on anybody, anywhere, whereas these straps only work for the specific class era combination. So if you don't get the right one, then you're kind of just out of luck. But when you do get the right one, then you could really dominate anybody. And everybody kind of just gets in their head, big damage, gotta one click and win and move on, right? And that's not the only way you can win. There's plenty of ways that you can win in this game. Some people one-click submissions. Some people two-click submissions. Some people put trap gems down so that they could put their sub out and make their opponent hit all the trap gems. Other people use move damage. Some people use gem damage. Some people use a combination of everything. There's so many options out there that it's silly to me to just completely forego how effective these armor straps can be. And that's for just about any game mode. The only one that it's not for is boss. But Tours armor is king. Showdown armor is amazing. Feud, which I know a lot of people are going to say, well, feud armor is pointless. It's really not. It's actually not whatsoever pointless. The amount of damage that you have to do to get the amount of minuscule war score out of it nowadays is not really worth it. The only thing that kind of counters this is feud perks typically have color gem bonuses that give you 200% color gem bonus. So like 200% red gem bonus, 200% purple gem bonus, things like that. But you can play around that with certain characters if you just get rid of those gems on the board, right? So again, it's all dependent on how you want to play. But for me, these are the two steals of the wall, personally. The rest of these characters are all dropping fairly frequently in the loot from what I've seen. I've seen a bunch of Dusties. I've seen a good chunk of Rock. I've seen a lot of Samu, a lot of Devon Dudley. I haven't seen too many Steve Austins or Sherry Martells. I have seen a lot of shards for Sherry. I don't know if Austin's in the loot, but that being said, I also don't think Austin is that game changing at this point in the game with how strong Raphael has become. So kind of unfortunate from how strong he was to how far he's come. TNM Taker, always have a special spot in my heart for him, but I mean, with the amount of showboats out there, I don't really enjoy his gameplay as much. His move damage has severely fallen off. His gem damage is good, but it's just slower compared to most of the showboats out there. Tori's a trainer, nothing more. Bronson is a CSS. I'm just surprised that they finally made him available. Sheamus, strong, again, just not my playstyle for a showboat. Drew McIntyre is good, but mainly a coach nowadays. Braun Breaker is great as an MP trainer. So if you don't have him, definitely worth looking into getting him. Braun Strowman, Powerhouse, is, again, good, but nothing that I would go above and beyond to saying is worth spending this much prize wall on, if that makes sense. And then we get to the gears. So again, they're just completely overvaluing this DX Army gear. The only reason I could possibly rationalize these prices is because there's people out there that pride themselves on having every single gear under the sun, because there's no way on God's green earth that DX Army Triple H gear should be worth as much as a Regal gear. That's just brain dead, to put it kindly. And that's putting it very kindly. Both the Regal's gears are here, which is awesome for those of you that don't have both of them. I always lose track of which one is more expensive than the other because they just keep swapping back and forth. But Regal gears make him arguably the strongest hitting character in the game. Obviously, Howdy, with enough RNG and time and clicking and perfect setups, can do more damage than him. But not, it's not the consistency that Regal has. Creed gear used to be great, and then they nerfed him. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. Grayson gears, which are cool, are also on the month-long midweek prize wall, so up to you if you feel that that's worth it. Again, something that doesn't make any sense to me, old school Brett gear being the same price as Regal gear. What? What? This is just MP. It's MP for Brett. Cool. Brett's not someone that you're going to use or whoop people with. It's silly. Batista Bomb gear, it literally just makes him go bald. That's about the value of it. So if you want to look at bald Tista instead of Batista, then yeah, sure, go ahead and drop the 20k. NXT Theory gear, it helps. It doesn't make him competitive. NXT Sammy gear, it helps. It doesn't make him competitive. Molly gear, again, helps. Doesn't make her competitive. These medal cases are cool for those of you that just don't have any good medals. But I would not expect much out of them personally. That to me is already in like the cleanup crew section of things. A limit 1 on the 100% era. This is so weird to me. You could just pick the era that you want on the month-long midweek wall and then roll the class. Why the hell you would want to do both is absolutely beyond me. It doesn't make any sense. And then to have a 60 piece on top of that, like, I don't get it. I just don't. I appreciate that they made these skill plates available again. I'll probably end up getting this one because this is the gem damage one, so helps out Howdy a little bit. Helps out a couple of the characters this month. I hate this plate, honestly. I don't really need to generate 22 black gems. None of them have a black gem damage bonus that is significant enough to make that viable. So just not worth it. And then we get to the moments. So I'll start from the bottom here. Final Testament moment, available on the month-long wall. Imperium moment, available on the month-long wall. NXT, available on the month-long wall. Tori, available on the month-long wall. So you already have 4 of those that you could just get whenever you want. So this literally comes down to these two. The Tiffy is money moment is pretty solid if you're wanting armor on any of those characters involved. And this, at this point, is just a collector's moment. This helps out Bam Bam, makes Sherry a little bit stronger, but it's a collector's item. If you don't have, Regal gear for 140k, and you're missing this moment for 140k, I would tell you to get the Regal gear. This moment is definitely more rare because it doesn't show up, but the value is just so bottom of the barrel. And then the shard bags. The shard bags that you get during the feuds for, getting what Flash feud war score of 200 mil or whatever, 250, whatever that is. These are the bags. You could literally get one bag of one class. Like, cool, good for you if that's what you're really feeling. So not really a not really a crazy value on a lot of the stuff here, but the stuff that is here that does have value does have good value. Does that make sense? A lot of this stuff very overpriced and very easy to skip on, but a lot of the other stuff that is here, including these big boy straps, not so easy to skip on, and you definitely want to get some of them. So for me personally, like you can see, again, I have 250,000 that I want to go through. The fact this plate is only 10k, I like the idea of that. I like the look of that. I don't need any of these gears other than the Waller gears, but if I'm going to do that, I'm going to take the month-long midweek gears instead of this wall gears. And so I think I'm just debating between, do I want damage, do I want defense, do I want damage, do I want defense? And right now I get to pick 6 of them. And that'll leave me with the 10k left over. And that 10k will get me that row break damage skill plate. So I'm thinking, for at least for now, I'm going to take a couple of stabs at these 150s. And we'll do it while we're recording this video so that we all get a look at it. So New Gen Powerhouse, that's actually pretty cool. It's not as great for me because one of the 130s that I ended up hitting was a New Gen Powerhouse, but I will take the upgrade there. It's a 150, so not the end of the world. I'm going to go ahead and take another 150 and maybe we get something good. Reality Showboat. That goes on Big Bad Regal. And you know what? 3rd time's the charm. How's about that? Maybe Legend Striker? Another New Gen Powerhouse. Well, that just soured that for me. Not really thrilled with the fact that I just got dupes there, especially for something that I already have a 130 on. That's a real feels bad. I'm almost kind of tempted to take a defense strap here. But you know what? We'll go one more on the damage. Let's try that out. Modern Powerhouse. That's a big win for CM Punk. All right, maybe you've swayed me back. Maybe you've swayed me back to the damage. Let's go for one final one. Why not? The 5th and final. We got a legend. It's an Acro. Legend Acro. I think I also had a 130 on that too, but I will take that. That's fine. And I think I have 50k left over. So we're going to go ahead and I think I'm going to debate. I might get this plate and a defense. I might get that plate and a damage. I might make some really bad decisions and get some more prize wall and pick up a couple more of these, but for now, that's going to be the end of it, and that'll be the end of this video. So please make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to share it to each and every person out there that keeps asking, well, what do I get on the prize wall? Yada, yada, yada. You already know the drill. Leave some comments left below in regards to what it is that you got off the prize wall. Did you enjoy the Black Friday event? And did you get anything good out of the loot pulls? Did you get a drip plate? Because after the amount that I spent, I didn't. But that'll be it for this one. So have a good one, everybody.
you.